The story opens in an ancient China setting, and a group of villagers are seen complaining in front of a rich man's house, the Mo family. There are people complaining about their crops, and there are others who are there for other things. The head's wife, Shinner, can hear the complaints, and she asks her sister-in-law, You about the crowds outside. She lets her know about their grievances, like the typical day democracy. Shinner asks after her brother-in-law, Xiao You, but the guy is nowhere to be found. Apparently, Xiao You is a free bird who doesn't concern himself with the politics of the village. Xiao You is seen in the woods, baiting what seems to be an unnatural monster. He already has a trap laid ready to catch the monster, but this doesn't work as he initially plans it out. He whistles to his horse and starts chasing after the monster. Back in the village, everyone is demanding a payment or sort for the damage of their property, and this is mostly done by Xiao Yu. The people know that the Mo family is rich and are using this opportunity to demand ridiculous prices. Yu tries telling Shinner that they cannot continue giving the people what they want, but Shin-er reminds her that Xiao Yu was the one who caused the problem, and for this, they are solely responsible. While his family is busy paying for his extravagant damages, Xiao Yu is having the time of his life, chasing around the unnatural beast. Getting to a plain field, Xiao Yu is able to take down the monster with multiple wooden arrows. It soon dawns on him that he is about to lose his shitty life, when he realizes that the arrows only made the monster even more aggressive. The monster comes charging at him, but he falls off his horse before the monster can tear his head off. The monster is relentless and comes charging at him again, but Xiao Yu tries holding it back with all his strength. Xiao Yu is about to lose the fight when the monster suddenly freezes up and dies. Xiao Yu stands up to realize that he has just been saved by a guy, Xiang. Instead of being grateful, Xiao Yu decides to become a whiny and ungrateful punk as he starts to cry, just so he can guilt-trip the guy. He tells the guy that he has been tracking the monster for months, but he just came out of nowhere to terminate it. Because of this, Xiao Yu is demanding compensation. Xiang is about to get angry at this senseless demand, but his uncle shows up and offers to pay the compensation to Xiao Yu instead of dragging it further. The old man then asks Xiao Yu if he knows a person named Mo Taii. Xiao Yu obviously knows the guy because he is his brother, but he is not ready to divulge the information to them since he doesn't trust them or even know who they are. He demands that they give him their black horse, but sadly, his ridiculous price cannot be granted. Xiao Yu opts to leave since they cannot give him what he wants, and they let him go. He picks up the dead monster with one hand and takes his leave. Xiao Yu gets home, and his family members are cautious of the beast he brought with him, but he assures them that it is dead. Xiao Yu tells his sister-in-law that he hunted down the beast so he could give her the gallbladder to use as medicine since she needs it. His sister-in-law lets him know that he is in trouble when Taii comes back, because the family is almost broke because of him. Remembering what Xiao Yu has done, this prompts the lady to burn his back with the hot water she is using to massage him. She talks about how his brother told him to focus on his studies when he was leaving. Talking about his brother, Xiao Yu remembers that two strange guys asked of him earlier that day. It's been months since Taii left, and they haven't heard from him. His low-IQ sister-in-law then remembers that his brother actually sent a letter to him. Xiao Yu gladly collects the letter and heads to his room to read it. Taii states in the letter that the emperor is requesting his services in governing the state, and this is his reason for staying back so long. His brother beseeches him to protect the family while he is away. Xiao Yu is relieved to have finally heard from his brother, but he is also worried about the fact that he didn't mention when he would be coming back. He lies on his back, thinking about the decisions that his brother has taken so far. Just then, the scene transitions to modern-day China. An actress, Hong Xin, wakes up from her nice sleep because of a call she received from her senior brother. Her brother, who is an archaeologist, tells her something interesting that has just been discovered, and he asks her if she will be interested in checking it out. She gets interested in this because it is about the Qin dynasty. Hong wastes no time in getting dressed, and she meets up with her brother in no time. He takes her to the site and urges her to enter quickly before someone sees her. He is definitely going to get punished if they find out he brought someone to the site. Hong stares at the discovery and marvels out loudly. The scene transitions back to ancient times. A group of soldiers led by Zhang has just arrived to escort Shinner to the capital. She tries to know why she is being taken away, but Zhang replies that he knows nothing. He has just been ordered to bring her, and this is what he wants to do. Shin-er is not ready to argue, since power is power, and the emperor is above them. Xiao Yu doesn't want Shin-er to go alone, but she reminds him about what his brother said. With this, Shin-er steps into the carriage, and she is taken away. The villagers wear a mournful face as she is being taken away. Minutes after they ride away, Xiao Yu realizes that he cannot stay back while they take his sister-in-law away. He chases after the carriage with his horse and causes a ruckus with the soldiers. He beats up a few, but he is finally taken down from behind after Zhang hits him. Zhang lets him know that what he just did is a capital offense, but Shinner begs on his behalf. Xiao Yu then says he wants to go with them to the capital, and Zhang agrees since that is his wish. Meanwhile, Xiang and his uncle are watching this. Xiang would have interfered, but his uncle tells him that there is no need to do that. He doesn't want them to interfere with fate, because if the Mo family is destined to be unfortunate, no one can stop it. On their way to the capital, Shinner scolds Xiao Yu for being reckless and reminds him that Taii is not going to be happy with her if he finds out about what happened. He bows his head and apologizes for this. As they get close to the capital, they ride by a mine where citizens are being made to work under hard labor. Meanwhile, the emperor is seen talking to a bunch of priests. Apparently, he told the priests to help him create a longevity elixir, and they have come up with his request. The emperor is happy with this, and tells his guards to reward the priests. However, he changes his mind when he realizes that the elixir will only keep him alive for 1,000 years. It seems Methuselah years are not enough for the man, and just wants pure immortality. They should have come up with a Dracula formula, but since they have failed to do that, he orders his guards to cut the priests down, which is done swiftly without delay. After the priests are dead, the emperor continues ranting, but this is when Taii shows up and informs the ruler that he has made the perfect elixir for him. Just then, Xiao Yu and Shinner arrive at the palace. They are taken to the presence of the emperor by the palace official, Zhao. This is when they realize that Taii is also in the palace. However, their happy reunion doesn't go that happy when Xiao Yu realizes that his brother is in chains. They wonder what Taii must have done to deserve this kind of treatment from the emperor. It seems the emperor is now sicker than ever before, and this is because the previous elixir Taii provided isn't working. Taii takes full responsibility for this and begs the emperor to let his family go. However, the ruler has another thing in mind. They want Shanner to take the elixir, which she is going to make into a terracotta sculpture and buried in the Imperial tomb. If she survives this, Taii will be promoted as the advisor to the emperor, and the Mo family will be dukes forever. Now in the modern day, Hong and her brother are still busy exploring the tomb. They make their way to where a tall armor is found. This armor has been there for years, but there is no sign of corrosion or sorts on it. In addition to this, it has over 100 inscriptions written on it. At this point, I personally would definitely be running out of there. Hong is impressed with the helmet, and she bends down to observe very well, but by the time she looks back up, her brother is nowhere to be found. She starts looking for her brother, but the lights suddenly go off, and this is when she sees something strange that finally jolts her dead-ass brain to start running. Back in ancient times, Taii didn't want her wife to do this, but there was no going back on the emperor's word. Shinner doesn't mind taking the elixir if it means saving her family. She picks up the elixir and is about to drink it when Xiao Yu knocks her out. Believing that Xiao Yu is about to go against the emperor, he is held down, and multiple soldiers appear from the door and windows as a sign of intimidation and authority. However, Xiao Yu assures the emperor that he is not trying to go against him, but he is offering himself to take the elixir. The emperor is not one to reject the offer, since he offered. Going back to the modern day, Hong finds herself at the mercy of a man who appears to be a sorcerer. He walks toward the armor, while also telling the lady about the Qin dynasty and the soldiers they gathered. All these stories don't really concern the lady, but what concerns her is the fact that she has not seen her brother. The man tells her not to bother about looking for her brother because he has terminated him. Hong gets serious and stands up to ask the man who he really is. The man only has one answer for the lady, and this is, he is a treasure hunter. Hong starts thinking of how to run away, and she distracts the guy by pointing to what is obviously not there. The guy looks back, giving Hong the chance to punch him, and then hits him on the head with the golden helmet. She runs away, but the guy recovers in no time and chases after her. She soon finds the body of her brother, lying on the floor. The hunter continues chasing after her, and she tries calling for help on her mobile phone, but she is not getting any reception. The hunter is able to track her down with the use of his monkey. Hong continues running for her life, while the guy throws wind spells at her just to toy with her. She finally falls down, and the hunter demands that she hands over the helmet with her. She opts to throw the helmet far away to stress the guy further. This visibly vexes the guy, and as he tries to hurt her, a bright light appears out of nowhere, and the statue in front of him shatters. Xiao Yu emerges from the statue and delivers a punch that sends the guy to oblivion. Plot armor just saved Hong, but let's wait and see what their journey together will be. Xiao Yu smiles at the lady, but Hong is visibly careful of the kind of person he is. Just then, everything starts rushing into Xiao Yu's head, and this causes him pain. He remembers his brother putting a necklace around his neck before he was buried inside the tomb. His brother gives him hope and assures him that they are going to meet again. While he is in pain of remembering this, the annoying secret hunter gets on his feet and realizes that it is a good time for him to hurt the guy. The treasure hunter attacks Xiao Yu with his magic, but even though Xiao Yu is in his weakened state, he manages to hold off the guy's attack. The face-off comes to an end when securities show up, but the treasure hunter makes sure to steal the helmet before running away. Hong is about to stand up and leave when Xiao Yu holds her hand, addressing her as his sister-in-law because she looks exactly like her. Moments later, the two are taken to the police station, where Hong tries to tell the police guy that she is innocent, and in fact, She considers herself a victim. At this point, the police tell her that they are going to confirm with her brother, and this is when she finds out that her brother is not dead, but only suffered a concussion. On the other hand, Xiao You is busy gulping down food like he is a gorilla. Hong tells the police that she doesn't know him, even though he is claiming that Hong is his sister-in-law. This freaks Hong out even further, letting the fat-ass police guy know that she has nothing to do with Mr. Ancient sitting over there. After taking their statements, Hong and Xiao You are released from the station. They get outside and Hong urges the guy to leave her alone. She starts walking away, but Xiao You is a persistent cockroach and he still follows her. Hong makes it to a stop and disappears in a flash before Xiao You can catch up to her. Xiao You looks around with no presence of Hong in sight. While he is looking around, the people are also looking at him, wondering where he came from. Some believe he has cosplay, while others believe he is not mentally stable. Hong believes she has escaped, but before she knows it, she hears Xiao You calling out to her again. Xiao You is now in the middle of the road and causing traffic, while people are yelling at him and blaming the poor guy for their wives leaving them. Hong makes it to a taxi and tells the guy to drive. Xiao You jumps over the cars to get to where Hong is. As the taxi is about to drive away, Xiao You holds onto the door, causing it to rip off. Because of this, the two end up in the police station yet again. Hong is about to be processed when a lawyer from her movie studio, the Honghai Group, shows up to clear out the issue. A luxurious car, sent by Hong Zhen, is sitting outside, ready to pick the lady up, but she decides to use her legs instead. On the other hand, Xiao You is led to a cell room, and the officer tells him that he is going to be released when a family member comes to pick him up. He enters the cell filled with crooks and thugs, who are happy to welcome him. One of the inmates, Lao, walks toward Xiao You to make fun of him, but Xiao You doesn't know this, and he starts asking innocent questions. He wants to know if the guy is also waiting for his family, or if they even recognize him. Lao takes his luck too far. When he tries to take the necklace around Xiao Yu's neck, Xiao Yu grabs his hand and throws him into the wall like he is nothing. The others stand up to defend their comrades, but in the end, they all end up receiving a share of the beating too. They get on their knees to beg him, and even call him a great hero, because he seems unstoppable. Xiao Yu then talks about leaving the room, and to do this, he places his hand on the wall, and a bright light appears, thus breaking the wall for him to escape. In her room, Hong finds it hard to comprehend everything that happened that day. She lies on her bed, but finds it hard to sleep. Meanwhile, Xiao Yu is busy running around, looking for Hong. At the police station, the crooks are being punished because they believe they are the ones who aided Xiao Yu in escaping from the cell room. Later that night, Hong steps out of her apartment, but realizes that it is raining. She is about to walk back in, when she hears Xiao Yu call her name. She turns around to see the guy drenched in rainwater. Xiao Yu walks close to her and passes out on her body, after addressing her as his sister-in-law yet again. Later on, Xiao Yu sees her sister-in-law pouring water on him, and this jolts him to wake up and realize that he was dreaming. He has an ice patch on his head to help him calm his temperature, and this is probably what made him have such a dream. He looks around to realize that he is in Hong's apartment. He starts looking around to find her, only to walk on the lady while she is in the bathroom, causing Hong to give out a loud scream. After she leaves the bathroom, Hong tries to clear things up with Xiao Yu. She lets him know that she is not the person he thinks. She is still a young and single lady crying out loud. She adds that she would not have helped Xiao Yu if not for the fact that he had a fever. She then asks him how he found her. Xiao Yu replies that he did find her through her scent, and this only makes things worse, because animals are the ones who find things with sense. You are not a hound or wolf for diddle's sake. Hong is no longer having it, and she tells Xiao Yu to stop following her around. After this, she takes him to an outfit store where she gets him an outfit that looks normal and makes him not stand out as an ancient person. She then tells Xiao Yu to stop following her around, and the guy agrees to this. Meanwhile, the treasure hunter is busy tracking Xiao Yu. Later on, Hong arrives on set, and after a few demonstrations, the director tells her that she needs to follow a new script, which requires her to cut down a bunch of ninjas who are after her. The set begins, and everything is going so well until the line cuts, and she starts falling down. She is about to hit the ground when Xiao Yu appears and saves her. He also goes after the stuntmen, believing that they are real ninjas. Hong berates the guy, reminding him about not following her, but in his defense, he believes that she is in danger. The director shows his face and Xiao Yu assumes that he is the ringleader, but Hong lets him know that he is not a bad person. She tells him that everything he just saw is fake. While the two are arguing about this, the director is shown a video of how Xiao Yu took down the stuntmen, and this immediately sparks the director's interest in the guy. The director then immediately offers Xiao Yu a role in the film, and with this, he is hired as a stuntman. Later that night, Xiao Yu tells Hong that he doesn't know how long he has slept, but all he knows is that the world has changed. Hong then tells him that she is going to find a place for him to sleep since he doesn't have a place yet. He thanks the lady for this, and when they get to her place, Xiao Yu is asked to stay on the roof. He is basically homeless, but at least he has a bed, but not a roof over his head. Suddenly, he starts feeling everything happening around him, and using his foresight, he realizes that Hong is in trouble. He jumps over to her apartment, but by the time he gets there, no one is there. The only thing waiting for him are monster rats that he manages to exterminate using his powers. A note comes flying down, and written on it is an instruction of where he is to find Hong. He doesn't know how to read this, but at least he has her scent and can easily track her. It turns out that the person who kidnapped Hong is the annoying treasure hunter. He tells Hong to stop screaming because no one will hear her. They are in an abandoned factory after all. This is when the guy finally introduces himself, and his name is Hui Shu. He thanks Hong for leading him to the person known as the Terracotta Man. On the other hand, the police already get a call from an anonymous person that there seems to be a disturbance at the old factory. A police officer is now headed that way. Shortly afterward, Xiao You makes it to the factory, but Hui already knows he is close. He bursts into the building and tries talking to Hong, but the lady has bananas in her mouth to prevent her from talking. Xiao Yu looks at the guy and asks him what he wants, and he replies that he wants to know the kind of person he is and how he survived that long. He knows a lot about the tomb and also the fact that there is supposed to be another immortal hidden inside the armor. Because of this, he wants them to work together. Xiao Yu is tired of hearing all the crap the guy is spilling, and he throws him to the floor. The small monkey turns out to be even scarier than accounted for, as he transforms into a fake King Kong before charging toward Xiao Yu. Hui is proud of his creation, telling Xiao Yu how fierce the monkey is and how it is fearfully known among the treasure hunters. Hui then makes the guy a bet, telling him that he has to tell him all he knows if he loses to the monkey. The monkey charges toward Xiao Yu, and Xiao Yu makes his stand before engaging the beast. His hand shines bright as he leaps into the air to dodge the monkey's attack. He grabs the monkey from behind and throws him into a wall, leaving Hui in total shock. Xiao Yu continues dealing damage to the beast as he throws magic balls at him. He is about to end everything when Hui stabs him from behind. He literally stabs him in the back. What a loser. Hui admits that Xiao Yu is strong and powerful, but lets him know that he has no chance against the poison he just stabbed him with. Hui then brings out a magic flute and uses it to summon loads of shadow demon rats living inside the monkey. The rats come charging at Xiao Yu, and Hui is even able to manipulate them the way he wants. Hui traps the guy inside a ball made of rats and tells him that the only way out for him is to surrender. Out of nowhere, a magic bullet hits the flute, destroying it. Hui looks closely and realizes that Xiao Yu has been able to make a way from inside the trap. Xiao Yu engulfs himself with magic and destroys the entire rat population, which seems quite impossible if they are to ask Hui. He comes after Hui and knocks him out with a powerful punch. Later on, the police release a press conference about the recovery of a cultural relic that was stolen, and by this, they mean the helmet. Hui has also been arrested in connection to this, but the police believe there are other people involved in this because they could find other prints at the site. Hong is listening to this update on her mobile phone when Xiao Yu enters the room. His dumbass is about to speak out loudly when Hong covers his mouth, telling him that no one must know about their involvement in what happened. Xiao Yu remembers what Hui told them that night before they escaped from the factory. He lets them know that the secret treasure organization is after them already, and there is no escape at this point. Hong steps outside and sees the director talking to a famous actress, Tang Ling. She happens to have the same name as Zhao Di. Hong tries sneaking in a greeting to the lady, but she airs her. The director then calls Hong, letting her know that the producer wants to see her. He assures her that she has now been chosen as the protagonist, and hearing this lights up her mood like the sun. They enter the room where producer Liu is waiting for them. One of the crew members who Xiao Yu just met lets him know that Tang Zhaodi just joined them, and she is aiming to become a big star in the end. He and the guy head to the weapon library, where Xiao Yu sees lots of ancient weapons, and this amazes him. During the meeting with the producer, Hong is informed that she needs to sign a contract if they are to hire as the main lead, and she wastes no time in putting her signature on the contract. Just as she signs the contract, Liu brings out a briefcase containing a huge sum and gives it to the director, leaving Hong clueless and confused as to why the producer would do this. The director then calls out Hong's father, who has been hiding himself. Apparently, Hong has been avoiding her dad and doesn't want anything to do with him. She tries ripping off the contract, but it is too late. Her father wants to help her, but she doesn't want to. She tries walking away, but her father reads out the contract to her. She will be the one to pay for compensation if she quits, and she will also not be allowed to act again. Hong realizes that she has been crippled with this contract, but the only thing she can do is rage. Later on, Zhaodi runs up to Tang Ling with her costume, but she falls to the ground before she can get to her, and Tang makes fun of her for being clumsy. Tang's group also laughs at her for thinking she would become a star one day. She is broken, but she starts to slowly pack the clothes. Xiao Yu sees her from afar and would have come to her if not for Hong, who walks past at that moment. Hong is walking away from her father, and when Xiao Yu touches her, her father comes throwing a kick, but Xiao Yu easily dodges the kick. He doesn't want anyone touching his daughter, but Hong tells the old man to stop poking his nose into her business. the old man throws a punch at Xiao You again, and this time, Xiao You looks at him like someone he knows before, and this person's name is Guaniho. Later that night, Xiao You is walking home, and he thinks of how his brother used to train him in the woods. Just then, he sees some guys picking on Zhaodi. Apparently, Zhaodi's mother is owing some money due to her gambling addiction, and Zhaodi is being pressured to pay the money. Xiao You intervenes, telling the guys to back off immediately. The crooks get scared when Xiao Yu shows how skillful he is when he cuts down the leader's trousers with just a throw from his knife. The crooks run away after promising Xiao Yu that he will hear from the big boss. Zhaodi bursts into tears and runs away from the scene. She finally stops at some point and starts wondering why everyone is always acting coldly toward her. Out of nowhere, Liu shows up and covers her with an umbrella. He takes her to a restaurant where they are to drink and eat. However, Zhaodi passes out just after taking a sip of the drink given to her, and this is because Liu already spiked it. Zhaodi wakes up in a hotel room with Liu preparing to have his way with her. She tries running away, but the door is locked already. Liu pushes her to the floor, ready to perform his cowardice act, but Zhaodi manages to grab an object to hit him in the head. She continues hitting him until he finally gives up the ghost. After she is done terminating the man, it dawns on her what she has done. She gives up on everything and decides to jump out of the window and terminate herself. She lets go, but as she falls to the ground, a smoky figure catches her and offers her hope. The smoky figure touches her head and grants her the gift of happiness. Zhaodi passes out, and when she wakes up, she finds herself in Tang Ling's body. Meanwhile, Hui has been released from detention. He and his comrade Tyrone visit the leader of the association to have a talk with him. They tell him about the ruins and Xiao Yu's abilities. The boss gives them the go-ahead to do whatever it is they want to do, but lets them know that all information gathered must come to him. Hui and his partner agree to this because this gives them the autonomy that they need. After the two leave, the boss lets his assistant, Bai, know why he gave the guys the go-ahead. This is because he himself is after something or someone, Zhizhou Ren. Up next, Xiao Yu and Hong get to the set site to realize that it has been moved. Out of nowhere, Hong's father comes dashing at Xiao Yu, reminding him to stay away from his daughter. Hong cannot believe how annoying her father is, and she starts walking away. She claims that she is heading to the toilet, but her father is ready to accompany her there. Just then, Tang Ling walks toward Xiao Yu and thanks him for what he did yesterday. Xiao Yu is lost because he cannot remember doing anything in particular for the girl. Unknown to him, Tang Ling is no longer Tang Ling, but Tang Zhaodi. A flashback scene shows Zhaodi trying to comprehend how she got into her new body. Tang's assistant shows up to tell her about her schedule. Realizing that she has no choice, she accepts her new identity and reality. Back in the present day, Xiao Yu is still trying to fathom what is happening when a popular actor, Ma Gongzi, shows up in his expensive Ferrari. All the girls gather around him just as he steps out of the car, and it seems Mr. Popular and Tang Ling have something going on. He casually walks up to her and tries locking lips with her, but the lady dodges him. This surprises him because this is not supposed to be so. He gets even more surprised when he sees Tang hiding behind Xiao Yu. Hearing that Xiao Yu is a stuntman, Ma starts toying with him until Hong arrives to stop the entire thing. To impress Hong, Ma brings out a check of 5 million to flaunt in front of her, but her father shows up and collects the check. Apparently the company Ma is working for, Zhongde Group, owes the man, and he is taking this as payment. Honghai Group is owned by Hong's father, while Zhongdai Group is their rival. The two start showing off the expensive things they have on them, but Hong's father gets the last laugh when he makes his horse climb Ma's expensive Ferrari, therefore ruining it. Hong cannot believe that her father and the spoiled brat are competing for luxury. Shortly afterward, they arrive at the new movie location that was selected by Hong's father. He sees this as the best place for them to act in a movie because it is serene and far from pollution. Hong cannot believe this, but even the dumb director is trying so hard to convince her that they can get the perfect ancient fight on the site. He gets what he deserves when he falls into a hole dug at the site, and it takes the intervention of the crew to save him. Later on, Hong sits down to read the script given to her, but none of it makes sense one bit. However, taking a closer look at the script, it seems it goes with the situation she is in with Xiao Yu. She then talks to Xiao Yu about his family. He tells her what he can, but the conversation ends when things are about to start getting emotional. At the same time, Hong's brother enters the house to visit his sister. This is the first time he is seeing Xiao Yu, and he assumes that Xiao Yu is Hong's boyfriend. However, things get even worse and more complicated for him when he is informed that Xiao Yu is one of the statue soldiers found in the ruins. The guy sits down to properly digest the story, and with everything Xiao Yu is telling him, he decides to check the internet for further information in the history books. From one of the stories written in the history book, Xiao Yu is devastated when he learns that the emperor later carried out a raid on his village and wiped out everyone there. Xiao Yu realizes that his entire family might actually be gone. A flashback scene shows Taii leading an army with Zhang beside him. In another story, a group of army led by a stern man opens a hidden tomb but what they found inside are the undead. The undead take out the human soldiers, but the general of the army believes he can terminate the undead with fire. However, opening the tomb leads to another discovery, which seems to have been pre-planned by Taii. The leader of the army demands that they bring him a bow, and he uses this to destroy the entrance to the tomb. The light that appears to be a phoenix still remains up there, shining on them. Now in the present day, Xiao You seems to be in a movie where they are reacting history. Previously, he learned from Hong's brother, Xiang, that his family is dead. He starts hoping that his brother is not dead because he was the one who made the elixir that kept him alive. However, Xiang lets him know that what is done is done. They now need to know more about the ruins, the armor inside them, and the inscriptions made on them. Continuing with the movie set, Xiao You gets things a little too serious by spanking one of the crew members, as if he is in a real war. He feels bad for scaring the actors, and he silently walks to a bench to sit down. Tang comes over to sit down with him and comfort him, letting him know that everyone makes mistakes, and he shouldn't beat himself up for that. Tang then asks him if he and Hong are close. He replies that they are close, and in fact, they are living together. Tang is literally giving him a green light, but he is too dumb and blind to see it. Tang gets some hope when she hears that Hong is living in the house, while Xiao You is living on the roof. Hong comes out of her trailer to see the two talking, and she seems somewhat jealous about it. Meanwhile, Ma is also seen watching the two, and jealousy burns inside of him just by seeing this. Just then, Mr. Hong shows up behind him and chases him away from the site. Mr. Hong then gets a call from an associate of his, Zhang Xiezong, about what he is working on. He has an update for him, and he tells Mr. Hong to come see him. Later in the day, Mr. Hong makes his way to Zhang's office. Getting there, he tells the guy to make it quick so he can leave. It turns out that Zhang is helping Mr. Hong find out about his daughter's kidnappers. With what he has gathered so far, he realizes that they are working for the company. Apparently, Mr. Hong used to be a member of the company until he quit. Assuming the worst, he thinks the company is coming after him through his daughter. He makes a very clear threat right there, letting Zhang know that the company is going to get crushed if they come near his daughter. He shows this by crushing the table, just by placing his hand on it. As he is about to leave, Zhang stops him and lets him know that the company is not after him because of his daughter, but because of his son, Hong Feng, who disappeared. Hong gets defensive when he hears this, and he warns Zhang about crossing the line. On the other hand, Ma returns to his office, burning with anger. He intends to go after Hong, but his subordinates tell him that Mr. Han is no ordinary person. In fact, when he was young, he was known as the evil spirit Hong. Since he cannot go after Mr. Hong, he makes a cowardly decision to go after Xiao You instead. Little does he know that Hong is nowhere compared to Xiao You when it comes to being dangerous. Later on, Hong is going through Xiao Yu's things. When she realizes that she is keeping a diary, she decides to check the diary to see if he has something going on with Tang, because she saw them talking with each other earlier. Jealousy is about to bend this lady's neck. However, she sees something else inside the diary. Apparently, Xiao You has been investigating the ruins all by himself. He has been sneaking out and doing his own personal investigation without Hong's knowledge. While reading the diary, Xiao You is at the ruins, carrying out another session of investigation. Hong decides to head to the ruins to check on him. As she climbs down the stairs, she is shaking with fear, but still keeps going. She hopes she doesn't run into the bad guys at the ruin. Something runs behind, and she throws the torchlight she is holding, only for her to find out that it is none other than a cat. She climbs back up to pick up the torch, but this is when someone ambushes her and covers her mouth from behind. Inside the ruins, it seems Hui is also tracking Xiao You without his knowledge. Hong looks back to realize that the person who ambushed her is none other than her father. She wonders what her father is doing at the ruins, but her father wears a serious face, telling her to leave immediately. Just then, Hong sees Xiang walking towards them. Xiang is shocked to see Hong at the site. It turns out that Xiang is not related to Hong Xin, but just working for her father. Hong wonders what Xiang is doing there, and her father decides to explain things to her. He lets her know that they have been looking for answers since her brother went deep into the mountains and disappeared alongside his entire crew. They found symbols written on the stone walls, but suddenly disappeared like light, leaving only their luggage. Apparently, Xiang was there when this happened, and he still remembers it like yesterday. Now in the ruins, Xiao You seems to have found what he is looking for. A flashback scene shows his sister-in-law telling him about the symbol, letting him know that the symbol belongs to his brother. Taii puts the symbol on everything that belongs to him, and this is the reason they want Xiao You to study hard, so he can have his own symbol too. Now in the present day, Tang receives a call from Ma, letting her know that he is on his way to terminate Xiao You, unless she comes there and rekindles the love that they have for each other. Now at the ruins, Hong is surprised to find out that Xiao You is the key to finding her brother, but at the same time, she is not ready to go along with the plan her father and Xiang have. Hong tries to point out the fact that her father was using Xiao You, but Mr. Hong claims that Xiao You was the one who vouched to protect her, like his own sister-in-law. They are in the middle of this conversation when Tyrone shows up. He appears to be happy that Mr. Hong is present on site because Hong is someone he has always wanted to fight. Xiang drags Hong Xin away because he knows things are about to get serious. A fight ensues between Mr. Hong and Tyrone. Tyrone is busy laughing while they are throwing punches, and it is as if he enjoys doing this. Mr. Hong makes use of his fist as well as the muffler with him while fighting Tyrone. As the fight continues, Hong Xin steals the monitoring tab from Xiang and heads into the ruins by herself. Meanwhile, Xiao You has found a stone seat with astrological signs around it. He wonders what might be hiding under the stone, and just then, Zhang shows up. Zhang assures the guy that he is not a threat to him. He lets him know that he is a tourist and is just there to check things out. However, he asks Xiao You a direct question to know if he has found the treasure, but he says no. Zhang tells him to let him know when he finds it. He starts to leave, but Xiao You wants him to join him in uncovering the treasure. Zhang then lets him know that he has other business to attend to, like the extermination of rats. The fight between Mr. Hong and Tyrone continues, and it seems Hong is getting the upper hand as he deals fast blows to push Tyrone backward. Tyrone is impressed with the fact that Hong is still strong, even though he is old already. Mr. Hong lets the guy know that age doesn't matter when it comes to him. Tyrone believes that Hong is looking down on him, and he decides to use his ultimate skill by transforming into a beast. On the other hand, Ma has arrived at the movie production site with his men. He starts breaking everything apart, demanding that they provide Xiao You. The director tries telling Ma that Xiao You is just a part-timer in the crew, and he doesn't know much about him. However, the director spills something important when he lets out that Xiao You is said to be from ancient times. Just then, Tang shows up on the scene, trying to call Ma back to his senses. Ma walks toward her, demanding that she come back to him, but he receives a dirty and resounding slap from Tang. This vexes him so much that he tells his men to surround her and tie her up because he wants to take her with him. Now at the ruins, Hong Xin is walking around the ruins, looking for Xiao You when someone drags her from behind. On the other hand, Xiao You is busy looking for ways to open the seat stone. He uses his power to activate the star system, bringing forward a bright light that converges on the seat stone. This effect causes the seat stone to move, and a pillar emerges from underneath. It turns out that the person who dragged Hong Xin was Xiang. He tries telling her to leave the ruins because it is not safe for her. However, Hong Xin replies that she cannot leave Xiao You all alone, and not when she now knows that Hui is present in the ruins with him. The two are still in the middle of this discussion when the devil himself shows up and hits Xiang with his magic powers. The guy is thrown away, and Hui slowly walks toward Hong Xin with the intention of doing what he wants with her. He just found out that Hong Xin is Mr. Hong's daughter, and he wants to get at him through her. Xiang wants to prove that he is a man, and he tells Hong Xin to leave Hui to him. The alpha male syndrome disappears from his body when a bunch of demonic rats crawl up to him. Hui is about to hurt Hong Xin when something suddenly hits his hand and cripples him. It turns out to be Zhang, and he even tells Hui that he was aiming for his head, as if that will make him feel better. Hui cannot believe that Zhang is actually working for Hong, and in Zhang's defense, he lets Hui know that Hong is paying better. They feel the vibration in the ground, and this tells them that Xiao You has found the treasure. He would love to be with Xiao You, but he needs to deal with Hui first. Hong Xin uses the opportunity to run away and leave the men to sort themselves out. Hui is confident that he can take on Zhang. He tries bombarding him with the demonic rats, but Zhang just creates a paper cat and uses this to eliminate the entire bunch. Looking at the pillar, Xiao You finds a circular hole that fits his pendant. He takes the ball and inserts it inside the space. The pillar immediately lights up, and a bright white light shines across the entire room. On the other hand, Tyrone is now getting the upper hand because he has transformed into a beast. Mr. Hong is about to transform too when the white light reaches him, and from this, he sees the image of his son. The light continues to show several images, and from this, Xiao You learns that Taii is the leader of the ancient army, but was under a disguise. The bright light starts affecting certain individuals, and it swallows them up. This light also reaches the movie production site and takes Ma and Tang only. Among those who have disappeared are Hong Xin and Hui, but Xiang still remains. After being swallowed up by the light, Xiao You suddenly finds himself in ancient times, where he sees a minister, Liu Ji, talking to one of his comrades. Meanwhile, Ma's boys believe the director has something to do with their boss's disappearance and are ready to beat him up. Continuing with the events, Hong Xin finds himself amidst soldiers, and she appears to be a general with the name Fan. In the tent, Liu is seen talking about how he wants to approach the king, Xiang. At the same time, another noble, Fu, is seen convincing Xiang that Liu is a corrupt person who needs to be gotten rid of. Xiang agrees to what Fu says, and Fu assures him that he has made arrangements for Liu to be terminated, and this is going to happen the next day. The following day, Liu meets with Xiang, and he is accompanied by his men, which includes Xiao Yu. Liu presents Xiang with items he specifically made for him, and while Xiang is busy appreciating this, Fu is saying trash words to remind Xiang of why Liu needs to die. Moments later, Xiao Yu steps out of the tent and locks eyes with Hong Xin. Hong runs toward Xiao Yu with happiness, but it seems the two are both lost when it comes to figuring out where they are or what they are doing. However, the two know that they were both affected by the white lights. He tells Hong Xin that he met Xiang, but he doesn't seem to recognize him again. Once Xiao Yu mentions this, Hong lets him know about what she learned in history concerning Liu dying at the hands of Xiang. Just then, they step into the tent, only to find out that two soldiers are entertaining the guests. Mr. Hong is also in the tent, and he is happy to see his daughter, but the daughter, not so much. Xiang then tells Hong Xin to sit and dine with them. This is when Hong realizes that Xiang is also present inside the tent. They are in the middle of a discussion when some men rush into the tent and terminate Liu. This immediately causes a ripple effect that takes them back to when Liu is still alive. Once everything resets again, Xiao Yu finds Tang. Tang is happy to see Xiao Yu, and she lets him know that she has been looking for him since she got to that world. Among the soldiers standing outside are Hui and Tyrone. The leader of the squad shouts out instructions at Hui, and he thinks he can talk back until he realizes that he doesn't have his powers. Hui suffers at the hands of the instructor as he beats him with a whip. Later that night, Hong Xin tries to convince Xiang to terminate Liu, but Xiang refuses, insisting that this is the only way things can work out. At the meeting the next day, Hong Xin tries to communicate with Xiao Yu using hand signals, but Bro is too dumb to follow. Hui is among the soldiers who are hiding behind the tent to terminate Louis. Hui opens the tent a little to check those who are inside, and he is shocked when he sees Xiao Yu. He wastes no time in running into the tent to talk to Xiao Yu. To make things worse, he locks eyes with Mr. Hong. Hong hates the guy, and he comes after him with his sword. The fight between the two creates a distraction that gives the assassins the chance to attack Liu. Fortunately, Xiao Yu is there to protect Liu, and he drags him from harm's way. Xiang is tired of the commotion, and he draws his sword, cutting down the tent in one slash. Meanwhile, Xiang is busy looking at the footage of what happened that night, trying to figure out exactly what is going on. Just then, the leader of the Hunters Association shows up. He is surprised to see the man in his space, but this is a norm for a man of his caliber. The man lets him know that he has knowledge of what is going on, and he tells Xiang that all those who disappeared are currently undergoing limitless reincarnation. Back in ancient times, Liu is alive again, and they are back in the tent, having a meeting. Zhang is busy providing entertainment just so he can distract them from carrying out their attempt on Liu's life. Now in the modern day, the leader of the Hunters Association continues explaining to Xiang the theory of immortalization. He lets him know that it is a word created by an individual. After another failed plan to save Liu, Xiao Yu and Hong Xin start looking for ways to get out of their predicament. They think of the solution to this, and as if things can't get even worse, they enter their tent to find Mr. Hong standing there. He tells them a very shocking thing by letting them know that he is Luigi. This is shocking to them, and they start wondering how Hong became Liu. They must have switched characters or something, but they have no idea how it works or the why behind it. Mr. Hong wastes no time in putting the entire blame on Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu then tells them how he activated the pillar in the first place, and this is him inserting the jade stone his brother gave to him inside the pillar. This gives them the hint that the stone can actually take them back to their timeline, but they do not know how to activate it. Hong Xin realizes that this is more of a problem because killing Hong Xin as Liu might actually kill him in real life. They have never been attacked directly before, so this is a big test on their path. During the entire chaos, Mr. Hong is happy with the fact that his daughter cares about him. Hong Xin cannot believe her eyes when she sees this. Since Hong Xin is a general, she can rally the troops to help. Someone enters the tent, and the trio is about to die of high BP before they realize that it is none other than Tang. The next morning, they get on their horses and start heading to the meeting as usual. Xiao Yu gets to the meeting group beforehand to check for traps and the like. Zhang is also there, and together they check the tent to make sure there is nothing there that can cause Mr. Hong harm. It seems Xiao Yu and his team already have something planned out concerning Xiang. They are also counting on Tang, who is a giant in the military. The meeting begins as usual, and this time around, Xiao Yu and Tyrone are responsible for providing entertainment by fighting each other. Xiang stands up from where he is sitting to interfere in the fight and stop Tyrone from going too hard on Xiao Yu. Tang comes dragging in a shield, and just when Xiang is about to start questioning her, Zhang enters to change the topic of discussion. Xiang seems distracted, and the two try to take him out. However, Xiang is so powerful that he easily anticipates their move, and he blocks it. Soldiers who are meant to terminate Hong rushes into the tent, but they fall from the trap already laid by Xiao You and his team. The soldiers keep coming in, and Hong gets cornered. He is about to meet his end when Hong Xin rushes in with a horse and tells her father to get on. Her father gets on the horse, but they still do not have a way to escape because the soldiers have blocked everywhere. Tyrone manages to create a path for them by pushing aside the soldiers with the shield he is holding. The horse leaps above the other soldiers and starts galloping away. The soldiers at the gate are prepared to close the gate and stop the two from escaping. While Liu's troops and Xiang's troops are busy fighting each other, Xiang demands that they bring him his giant bow. He gets a clear shot at the horse and the two on top. Xiao Yu sees him getting ready to fire, and just as he does this, Xiao Yu jumps to intercept the arrow. The arrow pierces him and comes out from his back, but still continues toward Mr. Hong because of how powerful the arrow is. However, the arrow destroys the jade stone around Xiao Yu's neck, and this is enough to create another ripple effect. Hong and his daughter disappear from the horse, leaving the arrow to go through the gate and destroy it. The real Liu appears back on the horse and rides away to safety. The effect of the stone destroying causes everything to go dark, and everyone present turns to dust. Xiao Yu finds himself in another dimension with pieces of the jade stone flying around. He touches one of the shattered pieces, and this transfers him to another timeline where he sees Xiang having a meeting with his brother, Taii. It turns out that Taii wants Xiang's help to terminate the Emperor, Qin, because of what he has done to his family. It still hurts Taii to see his brother get buried alive by the Emperor. Xiang is open to help because he himself wants to terminate Qin. After this, Xiao Yu is transferred to another scene to show him how brutal the war is. He also sees his brother discussing with his sister-in-law. Taii believes he has done what is needed to get rid of Qin's tyranny. Xiao Yu then realizes that Taii was the one who made Xiang powerful, and this might have been a mistake on his path. After this, Xiao Yu is transferred back to the original timeline where they saved Liu. On the other hand, Mr. Hong has made it back to modern times, and he seems to be the only one to have done that. Xiao Yu starts wondering where he is, but he soon gets the gist of it when he sees the soldiers he is affiliated to retreating. One of them is taken down right in his presence, and he quickly gets on the guy's horse to ride away. Meanwhile, Hong Xin is having a meeting with the rest of the gang. She tells Hui to be careful, since she now holds a decent amount of power and can easily tell the soldiers to deal with him. Hui has no choice but to comply, because they are all working together to find a way off the horrible timeline. They continue talking about ways to get out, and the solution they come to is to defeat Xiang. Liu is alive now, and he can make plans with them. After agreeing to this, Hong Xin and Fan step out to make another ally. Hong is worried about Xiao Yu because they have not seen him since the time everything reset. Hong notices that Tang is very nice, and she also talks about this because the Tang she knew is nothing but a They soon arrive at where they are supposed to meet the ally, General Han, only for them to find out that he is the worst person they could have come to. Han turns out to be Ma. Ma is very happy to see them at his mercy, and he orders his men to surround the two and put them in prison. On the other hand, Xiao Yu is resting alongside some soldiers. He learns from them everything happening, and he also doesn't know if Hong Xin is safe or not. Back in Ma's domain, he tells Hong Xin that he would prefer to stay in this world because he is a general and loves the power that comes with it. After this, Ma sets out to meet with Xiang, and he rides on a tall pillar built specially for him so he can feel on top of the world. Hong Xin tries to convince him about his choices, but his mind is made up already. Soon afterward, they meet with Xiang's group, but it is not what they expect. Xiang's troops start attacking his men in large numbers, and in addition to this, Xiang himself is present. With his powerful spear, Xiang takes down the pillar. Ma already has a parachute, and he uses this to escape from the falling pillar. Xiao Yu is present on the battlefield, and he sees Hong Xin falling to the ground and screaming. However, Xiang catches Hong Xin and starts riding away with her. Ma fails to control the parachute well, and he ends up falling in front of Xiao Yu. This is when Xiao Yu realizes that Ma is the cause of what is currently happening. After the battle, Ma finally realizes his mistake, but Tang wastes no opportunity in smacking him in the face. They have a plan to rescue Hong Xin, but Ma is not ready to be part of this plan. He doesn't want to summon his troops to help, but Xiao Yu threatens him by letting him know that his treachery is going to be reported to his boss. Realizing that this will put his life in jeopardy, he immediately agrees, and he calls on his troops to gather around. Now in the modern day, Mr. Hong decides to ask the Hunter Association for help. The man makes fun of Mr. Hong for leaving the association because of his son, but runs back to them because he wants to save his daughter. Mr. Hong then tells the man that he is ready to do anything, as long as he gets to save his daughter. The big boss takes this to heart, and is happy to hear Hong make such a huge promise. He tells Hong that he is going to hold him to his world. The boss then opens the container beside him to show Mr. Hong the helmet sitting inside there. He explains to Hong that the helmet was created by absorbing Xiang's hatred. He tells him that the helmet is also a key if they are going to get a solution to everything happening. While he is explaining this, the battle to free Hongxin is ongoing in ancient times. Hong wonders how he is going to use the helmet, but Bai is readily available to put it on. They need to put it on and disturb Xiang's consciousness with it. However, failure to escape will leave a distortion in space and reality. Meanwhile, Xiang goes to the tent where he is keeping Hongxin and tells her that it is time for them to leave. He calls her by another name, and that is Yuji. Hong wonders why Xiang just called her Yuji, and Xiang understands the fact that she doesn't know him, but lets her know that he knows her. He reminded her of when she looked into the helmet and a flashing eyes appeared right in front of her. This was Xiang, and this was the first time Xiang saw her. Meanwhile, Xiao You and the troops are busy taking a rest in preparation for another battle against Xiang. Back in the modern day, Bai is now ready to take the risk and put on the helmet to look for loopholes. He tells Mr. Hong not to worry about him in case things go wrong. It is now time for the battle between Xiang and Liu's men. Before they set out for battle, Liu's men are required to sing so that they can be calm in battle. The two troops of soldiers meet on the battlefield and start cutting each other down. Louis knows that the battle for all, and this will determine their future. Bai puts on the helmet, and it is felt on the battlefield. Xiang rides with Hongxin while he takes out the men standing in his way. The enemies do everything to try and stop him, but he is just too powerful and strong for them to conquer. Bai is about to be terminated when his powers come back to him because of what Bai is currently doing. He laughs out loud that his powers are back, but this makes him lose concentration, and Xiang strikes him hard with his spear. Xiang is glad that he now has his powers, and this spells more good news for Xiao You. He goes after Xiang knowing that Xiang is there to support him in case anything goes wrong. Tyrone stands in Xiang's way because he is confident that he will be able to hold him back. Tyrone transforms into a beast and pushes Xiang backward. However, with his beast powers, he still stands no match for Xiang's extreme abilities and skills. Xiang knocks him to the floor and is about to terminate him when Xiao You comes shooting arrows at the guy. Xiao You dashes toward Xiang, dodging his spear as he flies past his head. He tries dragging Hongxin off the horse, but this fails miserably. Xiang happens to remember Xiao You, and he asks him what he is doing in this timeline. Hongxin tries telling Xiao You to leave because he is the key to everything, but bro is either blinded by love or just straight up dumb. He makes another decision and charges toward Xiang, but this leads to Xiang cutting the guy in half. Hongxin gasps in horror as she sees this, but Xiao Yu's decapitated body suddenly turns into pieces of paper, and it seems the decapitated body is none other than a fake made by Zhang. Before Xiang knows what is happening, the real Xiao You appears right in front of him and drags Hongxin away from the horse. Zhang creates butterflies to block Xiang's view and give Xiao You the time to escape with Hongxin. Once Tang and Ma figure out that Hongxin has been rescued, they tell their troops to advance and charge at the enemies. Zhang is impressed with their entire plan, but is confident that there is no escape room for them. He throws his spear to intercept Xiao Yu's horse and create a ditch for them to fall in. The spear emits a bright light that turns everyone in the vicinity to dust. Bai feels this and tries to explain it to Mr. Hong and the boss. He tells them that Xiang was able to let go of his consciousness from within. Xiao You and Hongxin find themselves in what seems to be a destroyed village, and Xiang emerges from a portal right in front of them. Xiao You wonders what Xiang's intentions are. He even lets him know that they only interfered accidentally, but Xiang doesn't mind terminating them all. Xiang explains to Xiao You that he has been trapped for too long. In addition to this, he wants the pearl in Xiao Yu's body because Taii was the one who imprisoned him. It turns out that Taii was the one who created the armor for Xiang, and this drains his soul in return for strength. He demands that Xiao Yu hands over what he wants, but Hongxin reminds him that the outside world is not what he remembers it as. She is trying to convince Xiang about his decision, but Xiang replies that he doesn't care about all that, and what matters to him is the completion of his power. Xiang explains to the two how Qin united the 6 kingdoms and started ruling, but Xiang was not in line for this and destroyed everything. Taii is the one who tries to stop him, but Xiang believes even Taii is not up to the task. Hearing his brother's name, Xiao Yu asks Xiang if he knows where his brother is, but Xiang doesn't seem to know. However, he sure hates Taii and would like to terminate him if he sets his eyes on him. Xiao Yu tries to hit Xiang for talking trash about his brother, but all Xiang needs is a punch to send Xiao Yu flying. He slowly walks toward the guy and puts his leg on his head to pin him down in an attempt to put him in his place. Hongxin walks close to Xiang, begging him to leave the poor boy, but Xiang just catches her and throws her to the wall. He mocks Xiao Yu about the fact that women are the ones fighting their battles. To explain what he means, the scene goes back to when soldiers arrive at Taii's place to arrest him, but they only meet his wife, who willingly surrenders herself while her husband escapes. Xiao Yu angrily stands up and tries to hit Xiang with an arrow, but the man catches it and pushes the arrow into him instead. In modern times, Mr. Hong is informed that they cannot access the ancient timeline again using the helmet, and this is because Xiang cut off all access. Continuing with the story, story, Xiang takes the jade stone from Xiao Yu's neck and breaks it apart. This releases the power inside the stone, and it gives rise to a bunch of green crystals lying around. Xiang touches one of them, and through this, he is able to get a glance at the modern world. This starts to cause something bad, as the ancient world tries to forcefully erupt from under modern times. Bai gains access with the helmet once again, and this in turn allows Hui and the like to tap into their powers. Those in the modern world are already running helter-skelter because of what is happening, trying to escape the unnatural occurrence. Xiao Yu gets up and apologizes to Hong Xin for involving her in all of these messes, but Hong Xin does not take offense whatsoever. He then tells Hong Xin to stay back, as he slowly walks towards Xiang, as a proper protagonist should do. He dashes toward Xiang, but Xiang easily blocks his attack and throws him away. This is what Xiao Yu wants, as he easily goes after the jewels. He starts breaking them to cripple the emergence of the old world into the new. While he is doing this, Xiang is running after him, trying to stop him from ruining his plans. Xiang wonders how long Xiao Yu can actually last while he is doing this. He intercepts his move at some point by blocking his view with his robe, and then pushing his sword into him. Xiao Yu falls to his knees and is at the mercy of Xiang. Xiang is about to relieve him of his head when he suddenly realizes that the crystals are breaking off, as if someone is hitting them. Looking well at what is happening, he realizes that Hui and the others are at work concerning this. Xiang is also present, and he uses his power to cut through the crystals like butter. Using the distraction, Xiao Yu is able to stand back up and challenge Xiang again. Tang and Ma soon fall back to the battlefield too. Xiang decides to get more serious, and he summons his powered spear. He uses one of the crystals as a gateway point to impale Hui while he is busy breaking crystals. Hui dies from this, and he turns to dust immediately. Tyrone decides to take on Xiang, but Xiao Yu comes crashing down on the guy from the sky. He pushes him into one of the crystals, and they start fighting each other through the crystal gateways. Hong Xin and the others start running toward the portal, because Hong Xin believes it is their way out. The fight between Xiang and Xiao Yu continues, as they push each other through different timelines. Bai can feel everything from the helmet, and he is able to figure out that Xiang's consciousness is now weakened. But Mr. Hong is worried about the safety of his daughter. Xiao Yu has been able to weaken Xiang, and this vexes the guy. Xiang knocks him to the ground, and he screams as he holds him by the neck. He learns that Xiao Yu has an immortal body, and decides to hurt him really badly. He pins him down by pushing his sword into him. He goes after Hong Xin, but before he can get to her, Xiao Yu pushes the sword into himself through the gateway and gains access to Xiang's chest. The sword pierces his heart, and his soul dies from this. Everything starts to go bad, and Xiao Yu tells Hong Xin and the others to use the portal to get out. The shadowy figure appears and merges itself with Tang. Xiao Yu tells Hong Xin that they need to leave because this is no longer the Tang that they know. He carries Hong Xin, and together, they jump through the portal, but as they do this, Xiao Yu looks back and realizes that the shadow has now formed what can be called a regular human shape. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to get future content like this.